Tonight, COVID breach parties. Police move in over fears of a super spreader, but rules are relaxed for the fully vaccinated.
More Australians than ever keen to get the vaccine. 90% of our state set to get the jab.
Quad Squad. The Prime Minister secures crucial support, cutting China out of the picture.
International concerns. Sydney's booming property market sparks a global warning.
And Bunny brilliant. The Rabbitohs bounce Manly on their way to the NRL Grand Final.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Angela Cox and Michael Usher.
Good evening. Police have been forced to move in to break up COVID rule breakers, putting the state's path out of lockdown at risk.
Let's go live to Paul Kadak, who's in Bondi. Paul, good evening to you. The scenes there today, a big improvement, thankfully, on last night.
Good evening, Michael. Yeah, no real sign of any crowding happening here at Bondi tonight. A cold, windy and now wet afternoon keeping people at home. But it was a very different story last night at about this time when a large crowd gathered both here at North Bondi, and sadly 11 more people have died. 3 of those died at home, and that sparked a new plea from health officials. More on that coming up at 6 o'clock.
Paul Kadak there in Bondi, thank you.
3/4 of Australians have now had their first COVID-19 vaccine dose. Amelia Brace joins us now from the vaccination hub at Olympic Park. Amelia, new data shows a change in attitude.
Yeah, it's good news all round, and the vaccination rates are reaching an all-time high, and it now seems that vaccine hesitancy has dropped to a new low. Back in May, 29% of residents said that they weren't sure about getting a jab. Now just 9% have objections. What those freedoms will look like when we open up, we will look at how it will impact the retail sector at 6 p.m.
OK, Amelia, thank you.
The Prime Minister has wrapped up a week of crucial talks with world leaders in the United States, meeting with members of the Quad Alliance, which includes the US, India, Japan and Australia. Scott Morrison says they all acknowledge the challenges in the Indo-Pacific.
We're focused on demonstrating how democracies get things done, and we get things done in the region in which we live.
Mr Morrison also announced Australia will host a climate summit next year to help developing countries transition to clean energy. We'll hear more from the Prime Minister and President Biden shortly. A jet skier has been found suffering cuts and hypothermia after he spent the night missing in Botany Bay. Our reporter Tom Sakers at Dolls Point tonight. Tom, hello to you. How was he rescued?
Well, Michael, the 27-year-old man not only has water police to thank today, but the bystanders who heard his cries for help from where I'm standing now in Dolls Point just after dawn this morning. He was found near Kurnell in mangroves before they alerted authorities. Michael?
All right, Tom Saker reporting. Thank you.
Trains stopped at all stations and had their maximum speed limited as part of industrial action across Sydney today. The go slow was over calls for a pay rise and fears of staff cuts when new intercity trains are rolled out.
Trains will be running at a slower speed. Services will be delayed and run to a changed timetable.
And there is more disruption to come. A full shutdown is planned from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday.
One of Sydney's most notorious crime families hit for breaking COVID rules after the break. What really sparked the brawl between police and gang members?
Dangling for hours, how crashing into power lines saved this pilot's life.
And a forehand fit for a royal. Kate holds court with a Grand Slam champion. Welcome back. A 20-year-old driver has suffered head injuries after a ute crashed into a tree outside Botany Public School last night. Police and paramedics were called to Botany Road around 11:30. The man was taken to St George Hospital for treatment. Still not known what caused the crash.
5 people with links to the notorious Alameddine crime family have been charged with breaking COVID rules not once but twice in 3 hours. The men were questioned at a Guildford petrol station yesterday when it's alleged they threatened police before one officer was punched. Police say none of the men had face masks or a reasonable excuse for leaving their homes. You're watching a special edition of 7 News. Our top stories are next. As Bondi partygoers cause COVID concern, others enjoy some early freedoms in the Saturday sun.
United against China, the PM's big commitment alongside the US President.
International warning, could Sydney's property market be heading for a crash?
And in sport, the Panthers and Storm go down to the wire in their fight for a spot in the Grand Final.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Angela Cox and Michael Usher.
The end of our state's lockdown is in sight, but there are warnings tonight about potential super spreading events in defiance of police orders. This is a live look at North Bondi. It's a lot quieter than it was last night when huge crowds were caught ignoring COVID rules still weeks out from restrictions easing.
That is just over 1,000 new cases were recorded today. Tragically, another 11 lives lost, with 59.2% of the state now fully vaccinated, as those who've had 2 shots get an early taste of what's to come when freedom finally arrives.
Picnics with rules were meant to offer some relief from lockdown. Last night, it turned into this. Paul Caddack, 7 News.
New South Wales has hit another vaccine milestone. 85% of us have now had at least 1 COVID shot. It puts us on course to hit 90% with new evidence. Vaccine hesitancy has slumped to an all-time low.
At bus stops and by the busload, vaccine hesitancy is being driven out. Amelia Brace, 7 News.
As the state's vaccination soars, Sydney's hotspot areas are leading the way. Evan Batten joins us from Campbelltown. Evan, Sydney's southwest is really doing the heavy lifting.
Good evening, Angela. Yeah, 100% right. They are right near the top of the table here at Campbelltown and proud of it. The proportion of people who've had their single dose is up over 90%. Those who've had their second dose are already above 55%. A real indication, you would have to say, that the message is getting through.
We like to hear it. Thank you, Evan Batten.
Well, Scott Morrison has secured the support of world leaders to counter China's rise in the Indo-Pacific. The Prime Minister sat down with members of the Quad Alliance today, wrapping up a week of crucial meetings in the United States.
4 leaders of 4 very different countries, but on the challenge of China, they're 4 of a kind. At the White House, Mark Riley, 7 News.
That's the nature.
And 7's political editor, Mark Riley, will ask the tough questions in an exclusive one-on-one interview with the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, in Washington. That's going to be on Weekend Sunrise tomorrow. But now that Shirvington is here with sport. Shirvo, how good is this? It's going to be an all-Sydney NRL Grand Final.
What a match it was. It had everything. Hello, Mush. Hello, Ange. Yes, the Panthers will play the Rabbitohs in next Sunday's Grand Final. A brilliant crossfield kick from Nathan Cleary found Stephen Crichton for the Panthers to open the scoring. The Storm lost Christian Welsh. Well, the historic AFL Grand Final in Perth is just over an hour away from first bounce. Basil Zemplis is at Perth's Optus Stadium. Basil, it's an exciting night for the city of Perth and the AFL, of course.
Certainly is a day we never thought we'd see. For just the second time, the AFL Grand Final has travelled out of Melbourne and it's here in Perth. It's an incredible day. Optus Stadium, 60,000, not a spare ticket in the state. We never thought it would happen. It's happening today. Enjoy the match.
Just amazing. Thank you so much, Basil. A very busy man. And, guys, it's going to be a great match straight after the news, of course.
Fantastic. All right, Shirvo, thank you for that.
Sydney's hot property market could be heading for a crash if regulators don't step in to slow things down. That's the message from the International Monetary Fund, and comes just days after 2 of our major banks issued their own warnings.
As bidding wars rage.
Done. Congratulations at $1 million.
Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
Now here's Sally with Sydney's weather.
Thank you, Ad. Well, it was a mixed bag across Sydney today. Sunny, then overcast, but no rain. But the skies are crystal clear in the west for the grand final tonight, with forecast temperatures in the low 20s, light winds and no rain in sight. Back home, Sydney today reached a top of 21.5, which is pretty much spot on average. Bit of cloud cover building along the coast this afternoon, cooler southeasterly winds. But at Penrith, we still saw a warm 24 degrees away from that onshore flow. Cooler southeasterly winds will stick around tomorrow, pumping just a few showers to that northeastern corner of New South Wales. We aren't expecting very heavy falls, though. Around the capital cities for tomorrow, sunny skies are expected through Melbourne and also Adelaide. Oh, lucky the footy's on tonight, though, because Perth is expecting showers tomorrow. Across our state, clear skies are expected for the bulk of the inland areas for tomorrow. For the metro area, a cloudy day for Sydney. Temperatures set to plummet, though, 15 degrees along the coast at Manly and Bondi. On the water tomorrow, we'll see swell just sitting around the 2.5 metre mark. And let's zoom ahead to the 7-day forecast, because we are expecting to see the weather cheer up on Monday, 20 degrees before some more wet weather arrives, guys.
OK, thanks so much, Sal. And that is 7 News for this Saturday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening.
Coverage of the AFL Grand Finals up next from all the 7 News team. Thanks for your company. Have a great night.
Enjoy the game.